Three, two, one. We are off. Alrighty. So on today's little episode get together, whatever you want to call it, I got my buddy Eddie Ransome here. We're going to be talking a little bit about throwing a rock down a lane, doing a little bowling spiel. So how you doing today, Eddie?
I'm great. How are you doing, man?
Doing better than I deserve. Know that for a fact. So, I understand that you got a pretty decent bowling background. So if you want to kind of, rattle off maybe how long you've been bowling, what got you into that kind of stuff?
Decent. It's a strong word. Let me tell you, we're all right. That's it. But my dad, man, he kind of started it. It's huge in all the family, the whole family, really. I mean, cousins, uncles, brother. We used to run around the bowling alley when we was little. So, been there, seen it. Back when they was handwriting scores.
That's cool.
I don't remember much of it, but that's when they was doing it. So
yeah, I mean that's something I wish actually I had a little bit more of. Like I used to go to the bowling alley right when I could drive just to shoot pool because yet again small town living, you hung out in parking lots or you went to the bowling alley on the weekends. That was about it.
No, I remember, man. I had my fair share of the Friday night, Saturday night Rockaball. Objective was just to get as wasted as possible.
Hey, $10 pitchers they helped.
Right.
So, what about, is there any sort of like high sets, high games that you kind of got notched onto your belt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still striving for more. Hadn't been bowling very long, but I've bowled a 7-11.
Nice.
That was a fairly good set. Several 600s. That's not a strange thing for me anymore. It's a 600.
Oh, yeah, mister.
But
let me hold my pinky up. No,
right. You got to when in doubt, pinky out.
Yeah,
I'm
still not
keep it out there.
I'm still notching my 600. So
right. You'll get there. Hey, I mean, it's all memory. Same grip pressure, same release, and then everything else just works.
It is probably one of my, as weird as it sounds, bowling and golf go together more than they should.
Yeah. And
it took me a while to understand it, but when it clicked, I said, oh, now I understand why I'm bad at both. But it was one of those, I made the joke to a lot of my golfing buddies that, hey, bowling is just, it's indoor golf. The mental aspect of it. And I never imagined the mental game that comes along with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a whole lot of similarities in both sports. Some people say bowling's not even a sport, but I beg to differ some days.
I had a guy when I was first getting into bowling, health nut, ran every day. And first of all, you want to call bowling not a sport, but you run every day, your head's not in the right spot.
Right.
Yeah. So, and he's like, do you get a workout doing that? I said, buddy, you go bowl 6 games in a row, competitively, and tell me if you ain't breathing a little hard and got a little sweat rolling down your forehead.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and then there's those fellas that come in there to the center and they bowl 17, 20. I mean, I think I seen 27 one day out of just one guy. I mean,
so I think it was the same dude. I was bowling next to him, and I looked over and he had like 23, 24 games, and I was like, man, you out here stroking it, ain't you? And he said, my highest is 43. And I'm like, I couldn't walk after 43 games of bowling.
Yeah. I mean, that is just, that's just crazy. I mean, the amount of endurance that it takes to throw a 15-pound ball down the lane for 27 games is just unreal.
Right. Absolutely, man. So here's one topic that got brought up by a family member of mine. And this is actually something that was fairly new to me, yet again, not coming from a bowling background. Etiquette. And how many people don't understand bowling etiquette. And I was one of them. I was a guy who got quickly corrected by people I was with. And they're like, hey, no, you got to let that guy go first. And I'm like, why? And they're like, it's bowling. And I was like, no, you pick a ball up and you sling it at pins.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly just a focusing aspect, too. I mean, it is some respect behind it, but I mean, you got people up there striving, especially in the league setting, tournament setting. You got somebody striving to do the best they can, the whole purpose of what I think anyway is the purpose of it is bowling is 100% you and only you. Nobody else. Is not a contact sport.
Right.
You know, unless it's rowdy on a Friday night. It's not a contact sport. So it's all you, 100%. It's in your head. It's when you let go of that ball. So anything that's used in a way to distract another bowler is just, it's not cool. You know, it's just.
Well, and I mean, you talk about, too, bringing the tournament aspect up. You know, there's money on the line at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you've paid your entry fees to go into a pot. Yeah. And, you know, everybody's trying to take home a slice of it, because if you were bowling for fun, you go out on the weekends and do it. But if you're spending money on equipment to go out and bowl a tournament, then you're chasing after the prize fund.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can get there. You know, I mean, a lot of your amateur tournaments are reasonable. You know, everyday average Joe, they don't have $300 to spend on entry fees.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I mean, it's the more you put in, more you get out. So
yes, and I've been bowling for, I guess, right around 2 years ish, somewhere in there. Like, actually really trying to become a bowler. And if somebody would have told me that and when I started that year 2 of bowling, I would have over $200 in a pair of shoes,
yeah,
I would have laughed at them. I mean, and I'd have been like, no, the $60 pair would be fine.
Yeah.
Like that, and I still think that's too much. I can go rent them for $5 at the counter.
Right. You know, our house has got some pretty good shoes, but a house shoe's just not. It's not much there.
The other thing that talked me into buying bowling shoes is got a relatively, like, I wear a 13. I'm a big guy. Size 13 shoes don't get replaced that much at bowling alleys.
No, they don't.
So there was several times of non-alcohol related slips, falls, and trips videos that there's a highlight of it on my mom's phone that plays it to my nephew of me falling, and he still laughs hysterically, and this was probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've never had well, let me take that back, actually, come to think of it. I left my sock on my shoe one time. It was the only time, and I learned pretty quick. That is not something you want to try.
Hey, that is when you crash that one time, you make sure to stop other people when they're up there too, and they say,
"Oh, absolutely. The first time I had a real major stick in the ball was during our biggest league, and I mean, it silenced the whole house. Everybody knew it. Ball jumped over to the opposite lane. I mean, it was crazy. You're going to do it, just do it, you know.
Well, and I think this is a good segue into going why I throw two-handed now. Had a ball drilled, the thumb was a little too tight. We actually go to a house that is not the house that we bowl in, and you were actually there. Yeah. So you got to witness the evolution of a two-hander.
Yeah.
And it stuck on my thumb, and I shot putted it about, 20 feet.
Oh, every bit of it.
Hit the middle of the ball return,
yeah.
Took a gouge out of the ball during their league, and you could have heard a pin drop after that thunderous crash happened.
Yeah.
And actually, my girlfriend was there, and Eddie and his brother were bowling just a couple lanes away from us, and Eddie actually checked on me before my girlfriend could because she was laughing too hard. She was doubled over in what looked like more pain than I was in, laughing, and Eddie actually came over there and checked on me. And then I figured out you don't have to worry about a thumb sticking if you don't put it in the ball.
That's right.
So
that is right.
That is the evolution of that for me. And do you have any? I know that you are able to throw two-handed, which is kind of a little bit of a different to be able to throw two-handed in one fairly competitively.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say you could handle an average bowler two-handed.
Right. Yeah.
And so is there... I really wish you were just a one-hander so we could get into the argument of two-handed versus one-handed. But you're too much of a nice guy anyway. So.
Right.
But, yeah, is there... What do you think the pros and cons of both of them are?
Well, so I can tell you, one-handed, to me, this is all from my aspect here, hitting your target, hitting your mark, it's a little less involved. It's a little easier, one-handed. Definitely when you get out of that thinking you're you're throwing the ball instead of really just you're rolling it. I mean, it's all in a complete different mindset when you go from bowling with a house ball to something that's drilled custom for you. But the accuracy is the most different. I mean, because when I get out there two-handed, yeah, sure I can hit my mark, but I've done it. You know, I've threw several games in a row just targeting. But it's so much easier to hit that with one moving arm than to put two arms, two shoulders, hips, and everything into that same working motion with a two-handed throw. So I mean, I applaud people who are, 200 average bowlers, 180 average bowlers bowling two-handed, because I can bowl, I can shoot those big games, but it's less often than it is one-handed for sure.
Yeah, the thing as a two-hander that I'm most jealous of the one-hander is the ability to take rev rate off the ball.
Oh, absolutely.
So to be able to shoot a 10-pin or a 7-pin or just a single out there, you can watch the guys on the PBA, they just rear back and throw it 24, 25 miles an hour and annihilate these things.
Right.
And, I always try to remember that the pins have a family. There was no need in throwing it that hard at it, but
right.
But yeah, and I guess the advantages of being two-handed is the rev rate that you can put on it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the pin carry comes with that. Increased speed, increased rev rate, being able to get the ball back, playing your friction. It's so much more carry in lucky balls. Two-handed pin carry, man. I mean, as long as you're somewhere close to that pocket, you're just going to kill it. And then you've got some people. There's a few of our bowlers in the house that are one-handed, and they throw with the same rev rate as some two-handers. I mean, they just kill it, crush it. And you can definitely tell the pin carry from them versus someone who's 200 less RPMs on the ball and 7-8 miles an hour slower. It's a huge difference.
Absolutely. There's a fellow that we bowl with on Thursday nights, and he is definitely what I like to call man size.
Yeah.
Like the guy is not he's not fat or anything crazy. He's built. They don't make him like that anymore. And Alan. And I was talking to him. We were bowling each other one night, and I was like, man, I said, I would love to know what you got.
So is that fellow the one that he started with at the Black Widow 3.0?
Maybe.
Got a son too, Bowles?
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I would love to know your rev rate, because he is able. It's a smooth throw, but when he figures out how to dial that back, he is going to be a monster out there, and I'm really glad I bowled him when he doesn't know how to do that.
Right.
But he said he ended up taping his ball off, and he said if his calculations are correct, he should be somewhere between 5 to 515. And that's RPMs. And I was like, oh, my Lanta.
Yeah.
That's it. But you're talking about those people. He is one of those people that is out there on a fun night doing it.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about now. That his ball was actually in the pro shop. I was in there just, doing the normal, just hanging out. And anytime there's a ball on Ryan's counter, I go look at it. I look at the pin out. I look at the thumb holes. It's just interesting to me. There's nothing that I can't just pick up in a bowling alley and just mess with it. It's just everything intrigues me when I get there. And the size of that man's hand.
Like I said, they don't make it like that anymore.
Right. He's built for work. I mean, he's built for work.
Straight up stud out there. So I guess this is now a pretty cool time to bring up that you are actually working at a bowling alley, and
Absolutely.
you're the guy behind the scenes.
Yeah. I've never seen a bowling alley machine until I started at the bowling alley. Until I actually started bowling league, I made it through about a half a season. Didn't really have any intention on bowling, and just kind of got persuaded into it, and now I'm hooked. It was interesting, to jump into that, to see those machines, how they work, how simple they really are, and to keep the thriving want to the drive to be in there to see all that stuff. I mean, it's great. I love it.
Well, and two, I guess it helps with, shoot, I couldn't even tell you how long we've known each other. It's been a while.
Oh yeah,
and
several years.
Yeah, and just I guess growing up, you've always had the mechanic bug in you, and have worked in shops and stuff like that. So it's not like he didn't know the difference between a wrench and a ratchet and went out there and started fiddling on it. No,
right.
He's pretty well decorated when it comes to the mechanic side of the field.
Yeah, I mean it's been middle school even before that. I remember. I mean it's been a lot of times that I've worked on something. And obviously, there's a lot of times I've worked on something, didn't know what I was doing either. So let's not.
If you can't fake it and make it, you're not doing it in life.
Right. Sometimes you just got to wing it and see what comes out on the other side of the smoke.
I've always said, if you swing hard just in case you hit it, just close your eyes if you got to, but still get after it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been times where learning was the ultimate goal, but, dude, I mean, middle school, maybe a little bit earlier than that even, I kind of caught that bug early, the mechanic bug. My mom used to tell me stories about me just taking things apart at the house.
Worst decision ever made. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm telling you, you wanna broaden your vocabulary, you become a mechanic.
You're not wrong.
You become a mechanic.
Yeah, I don't classify myself as a mechanic. I'm more of a parts changer.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah.
I have gone internals and done stuff like that, but there's points where I've been underneath vehicles and said, I could have paid somebody and I could be on my couch right now and this could be other people's problems.
Absolutely.
But, so what, I know that the Rocky Mountain Bowling Center, right? Isn't that the name of it? Well,
absolutely.
Shout out to the Rocky Mountain Bowling Center. That's the house that I grew up in, as I like to say, for the past 2 years, and have gotten humbled more than once there.
Yes.
One of the last true wooden lanes left.
Yeah. They are getting few far and in between when you look across the United States. A lot of people, I want to say cost probably weighs in a lot with it. Maintaining a wood house is not easy. It's not easy by no means. Synthetic is a little more consistent with your shot. It's just easier to maintain. You don't have to do so much to it. Wood it's a different animal. I mean, you've got to keep it conditioned, and you have to keep up on them. If you don't, they go south fast. And
two, I wonder if kind of the lost wood aspect is because a lot of the actual wood houses, besides Rocky Mount's a fairly good size. What's it, 24 lanes?
24 lanes, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's a fairly good size house.
It's decent, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean if you travel around, there's a lot smaller wooden lanes.
Absolutely. We've got a few south of us. Don't hold me to it. I think it's 16 lanes is you got to have that to hold a tournament, PBA sanctioned tournament, I think. I might be wrong on that.
Hey, we're not quoting you.
Right, so don't quote me on that. But anything less than that, and you can't be but so big. You can't really pull in any of those big tournaments. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's fine if that's what you want. You just want like an entertainment center. That's fine, any way to get bowling out there, I'm for it. I'll never turn that away. But yeah, they definitely get small.
And I kind of wonder if that isn't the reason we don't see a lot of them. If they were just, if they were small, 12 lane houses or, even like 20 lane houses to where you could barely be big enough to hold a tournament, if it was easier just to replace everything with synthetic and build a new house.
Yeah.
This is a tangent I just decided to pick up and run with here.
There is even alleys, like 2 lanes and 4 lane alleys in places. I actually want to say, oh crap, maybe it was Tennessee. There's a small alley lane. We went up there for Knoxville for the Central Doubles, and Southeastern, and Kevin and Allison. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
they went out and spent a bunch of time, went out partying, drinking, carrying on that night, and they found this little cool, like 2-lane or 4-lane center.
That's awesome.
And I mean, it was just cool. Like, you walk through this little easement, like an old brick alley, and then you just kind of turn the corner, and it was just bam. It was just a hole in the wall. They served some drinks, and they had little music in the corner, and it was just a little 4-lane, I think is what it was.
Just a little hideaway out there in the middle of town.
And I mean, nobody would really know anything about that unless that's something you just look for.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
And being a bowler the house is wooden. I have been told this numerous times. If you can shoot good at Rocky Mountain, you can shoot good anywhere.
Yeah.
And I know this past Hall of Fame tournament that I got to bowl in. First tournament I've ever bowled in. And actually the fella that I was bowling with, very well seasoned bowler. I mean, his family does own the bowling alley. And I walked up to him and threw my hand out, and known this guy for years, Dwayne. Shout out. And I was like, hey, I appreciate you asking me to bowl with you in this. He's like, hey, no problem. He said, I just want to let you know that this is the first time I have ever really cared what you bowl. And this is mine and his friendship. It's pick on each other first so you're not in the hole. And I threw my hand out and shook him. I said, I appreciate that, and I just want to let you know this is the first tournament I've ever bowled. He said, I'm glad you told me now. He said, because if you'd have told me 2 weeks ago, I would have never asked you to come here. But we showed up. We had a good time. That goes back into the first house that we were at was Lehigh. Another good house, and it's a little bit north of us. And we were bowling out there, and that's a synthetic lane. And there was a little bit. There was a part of me when we got back to Rocky Mountain to bowl the team event, and I started watching everybody who's always bowled on synthetic struggle through practice and struggle through that first game. I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a like I've got a leg up finally.
Yeah. So wood, like a previous said, it's a different animal. I mean, when you see friction on wood versus friction on synthetic, it's completely different. I mean, it's so much more aggressive depending on the cover. I mean, obviously, your equipment has a lot to do with it, but normally the amount of hook you get out of a ball on wood lanes is just crazy. And then you go to a synthetic, you got to kind of tighten things up. If you put a whole lot of belly on it right out the gate, it's just going to wash out, or land up in the gutter, and you ain't coming back from there. It's just...
A wise man once told me the gray boards play straight.
They play absolutely straight.
And it was actually Eddie who told me this. And I looked at him and I said, gray boards? He said, the gutter, dumbass.
Yeah. I can't take credit for that. I can't tell you who told me, because I can't remember. But yeah, I had the same response when I was told.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I will never forget, and I have used it on 100 people since.
Yeah. But I mean, absolutely, it's synthetic. It plays a little straighter, but that also goes out the window when you're talking on a different level. When you bring in like a pro level bowler or amateur bowler that actually travels and he's well seasoned, obviously they turn the ball enough to where they can get that action on a synthetic. But your everyday bowler, if they're predominantly bowling on synthetic and they go to a house tournament on wood lanes, they're gonna struggle, because they're gonna throw that straight tight shot and it's gonna rip past the head pin, and they're gonna be like, what? Did you put oil out here? Hey, it's there, you got to find it. And that's a lot of the game is finding the shot, find your miss room, and don't give up the pocket. I mean, and if you can do that, you'll go places.
Yeah, and I miss room being the key word.
Yeah.
Don't just go out there to where you can hit it once every 3 or 4 shots on a pocket, and get out there to where you can miss 2 or 3, 4.
Yeah.
And if the pattern allows you, miss more.
Right.
And if it can still come back, then there's been some nights to where I have felt like I could close my eyes and I couldn't do no wrong. And then there is some nights where I have beat my head against a ball return. Not literally, would never do that. Respect the equipment, people.
That's right.
But where I I couldn't do anything. If you put me 10 feet in front of the pins, I'd hit a 7 or a 10 out of it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And it is crazy at some nights. I mean, you take my set last night. I actually pre-bowled for another league last night prior to our Tuesday night league. It shot like a 648 on a burnt lane, because it was hooking. And where it was burnt, it was giving me tremendous forgiveness. If I missed outside, there was a little bit of carry down already from previous that it was just kind of sitting and still rounding into the pocket. But if I missed in, it would slide because it was still in some of that oil. But, if it hit dry, she was moving, and that's where that forgiveness comes from.
And I tell you what, do you mind if we break that down into non-bowler terms? Just kind of some of the stuff that you threw out there.
Yeah, sure.
Ground level, every lane has a oil pattern on it. And and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the dude who works there, I'm the guy who watches YouTube. So every house has a pattern that they put down that is their house pattern.
Yes.
Okay. And they range in different feet, and they range in different amounts of volume of oil that go out there, and also shape of oil that goes out there. Mm-hmm. So when he is talking about the lanes being burnt, it's actually the fact that the balls have moved oil out of the area that you're throwing in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you take kitchen oil and put it on a kitchen or a pan, a cookie sheet, and you spread it out real smooth and take your finger and just draw a line through it. I mean, the ball does the same thing.
That might be the best way I've ever heard it described. Oh, keep going.
Right.
I'm just
it doesn't move a lot. I mean, you're figuring the ball is round, so it's not like it's got a huge flat surface on it. But it depends on the equipment that is getting thrown down the lane. Because if you have something real gritty with holes in it, essentially little small holes in it, surface, it's moving oil. You have something slick, they're not going to push oil, they're not going to move it quite as much, but you still have a line in which that ball is touching the lane, and it's going to move. I mean, it has to. It's friction. That's friction is the whole key in these performance balls, and where you find it and where you don't, that's just how it goes. But as it moves out, it creates a dry line, and if you can play that dry line to your advantage, you can really score big.
And two, the other thing that he talked about, the oil pattern actually stops on these lanes. So it becomes dry. When the fresh oil is put down, it becomes dry at a certain mark. And the carry down, what he was talking about, is when that bowling ball is actually pushing through the oil, it is actually carrying oil and moving oil from the pattern down lane. Yeah. So if your bowling ball out the gate is really, really snappy off of it, there's a chance that the carry down of the oil off of the other bowling balls will get down there and make it play a little longer without it moving.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's just going to kind of take some of that aggressiveness out of it. And like I said, you know how to play it.
Oh yeah,
shoot. You can shoot. So.
Is that 10-4? I know you. I know we talked about it a little earlier. You had a couple notes. You're actually the first person on here to bring your own stuff. So
man, I like to be organized and prepared, man. It's how you attack situations and win.
I agree.
Yeah.
But also I have came into many situations. I've left many situations okay by sliding in sideways and just holding on for dear life.
Yeah. Absolutely. When in doubt, wing it. That's what I was saying earlier.
Fake it till you make it mentality.
Right. Sometimes you just got to say, hell yeah, let's get on it. But
so, and this was actually something that we were talking about earlier, is evidently I fall under some heritage of bowling, of some bowling pedigree, I guess is what you would say. So go ahead, fill them in on it.
I never really got into some of these details. Obviously, I've heard a lot through the alley. There's several guys that are really knowledgeable, and it just goes for days. They could just sit there and just bullshit, and it's crazy.
Shout out Ronnie Wright.
Ronnie Wright, man. He
that is the old goat of the bowling alley, and I mean that as in
absolutely.
He's the guy who's always there. He's always willing to help. Yeah. Which is something cool.
Yeah.
And he is so full of knowledge. This dude, he cracks me up on. He's one of the guys who looks at me and goes, Rain Man, and gives me a fist bump when I walk in.
Some people say we wouldn't have the house if it wasn't for him. There was a guy. His name is evading me right now. I want to say he might be in Ingram. He started the establishment, and he came to Ronnie supposedly and asked Ronnie. He said, "You want to open a bowling alley?" I said, "Well, sure. Why not?" It was just one of those things. He was able to do it. He had some of the knowledge already. Not sure where he got it from, or apparently he was an avid bowler prior to that house getting opened up. So there was a old wood house in Roanoke that he used to bowl at a lot. I want to say it was Viking Lanes. I've heard the story of.
I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah, well before our time. But it was a wood house, and he was one of the top bowlers there. So he was asked to start that alley, and here we are now. I mean, it used to thrive. I've heard stories of them. Our Rocket Bowl now stops at 12 o'clock. I kind of remember vaguely that it used to go out to about 1 o'clock.
I do too. Or at least it felt like 1 o'clock.
Right. Dude, he's got stories of it not letting out till 3. 3 o'clock in the morning. They had 2 shifts on Tuesday night. They had the first early shift right after work. Then they had the late shift that started at like 9:15. So, I mean, them guys ain't getting out of there till 12 o'clock at night, 12:30. And then,
That's on a weekday.
Right.
That's the second day of the week.
Right. And then they go home and probably half twisted, get up, go back to work. Yeah. It's crazy.
I need to talk to him and see if I can't get him on here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool. Have some of the old stories get told, because I remember there was he was talking about the lanes getting brought in.
Yeah,
and he said, "I went down to the football team."
Yep,
and I don't know Ronnie to lie, because I feel like there's people who will back him up, and he has no reason to lie.
Nah.
But some of the stories are wild. Anyways,
yeah.
But he was like, I went down to the football team, and I said, I need about 10 of your biggest boys you got.
Yeah.
He said, so he got them, and they're like, what are we doing, Ronnie? He said, we're going to pull these lanes into this house. And he said, we hooked a rope up to them, and they said, how much are we getting paid? He said, I'll buy you lunch.
Yeah. Back then, I'm sure this town was still a whole lot in that, and not that it's not now, but back then I'm sure it was huge hometown. Everybody help everybody.
Agreed.
Not that there's not some of that still here, but we are getting more.
And so if you want to talk about the town, this is something that I truly believe. And I do not live in town, so I don't have any say-so in the politics or the voting or anything that goes on there. But I do feel like Rocky Mount has grown.
Oh, absolutely.
In a good way. In a way that people will actually stay. So I'm hoping to see maybe the next generation will be like, hey, no, my parents still helped out, my buddy's parents, or, we could call a family friend and they would still, they would be there. It's like, and I really think that that's the shape the town is going in.
Yeah. I mean, we're still, obviously, you got to accept change to some point to be able to survive in this world. Would I like to see us turn into something similar to a city? No, I wouldn't. It's probably inevitable, though. I mean, I'd say, because there's nothing really in between us and Greensboro. I mean,
yeah. Considering Martinsville's a ghost town. Right.
I mean, Yanceyville, everything in between that and Raleigh, Greensboro area, there's nothing here. Then you got Richmond up north. So, I mean, it's either Roanoke or Rocky Mount's got to do something.
Right.
There's nothing else around us. So,
hey, on that note, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to gather some thoughts up, and we're going to kind of game plan the rest of this out. So y'all just stay tuned, and we will be right back. Alrighty, so I think we are going to tackle a little bit of this list here. So what you got on the goodie? Actually, I tell you what, let's start off with the what we teased a little earlier, my bowling heritage that I didn't know about.
Yeah, so we got busy talking about the GOAT. and just completely
Just
disregarded your history, man.
It happens.
Yeah.
And if anybody's going to do it, I'll let Ronnie do it.
Right there you go. No, feel free to look into it, but you do carry the same last name as this fella, and he is from the United States, so there's a good chance that you are a descendant, man.
So Schmidt roughly translates to Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt it, but we're going to hold out hope.
It could be.
It could be.
Hey, but so back in the 30s, when machines was still kind of becoming such a thing, his name is Gottfried Fred Schmidt.
Strong German name.
Strong. Yep, strong. And I mean, he's got some German looks to him. I showed you a little pic. There's not a whole lot of good pictures from back in the 30s of him, but
$20 says he never drank an IPA.
yeah,
That dude was a stout man and a
Right.
draft man through and through.
yeah. He was a smart dude. He was an engineer back before you had to have degrees and things to be such a title holder. But he's the one that sold the rights to AMF for the 8230 and 8270 pin setters.
It's crazy for me to think that AMF is still prevalent today.
Yeah.
And it pretty much it bought this right in the 30s. And it's still rolling strong today.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I think we'd have to do some fact checking, but I'm pretty sure they're the ones that came with it first. They come out the gate with that right. He took those rights and he said, I made this. Look at this. We're going to get these boys out of these pits, I don't know if you've seen some pin boys from back in the day, but they had it rough, man. I mean, they'd be covered in all that oil and grease, and because back in the day, they didn't have the typical house oil that we have now. They used to condition the lanes with that shellac.
Really?
And it was some sloppy, messy stuff,
yeah.
man. I mean, you talk about something that gets everywhere.
Yes, sir.
So they'd be just covered in it. And so he was like, look, let's get these fellas out of these pits and put these machines to work. And they bought the rights. I want to say it was somewhere around 1940, 1945. They started producing, put them in order in 1950s-ish. That's when those machines started hitting the market.
So it wasn't really too far. I mean, my dad was born in the 1960.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there was a chance. I knew my grandfather was a bowler. And I still got one of his old rubber balls still hanging around the house somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is at Mom's. But there's a chance that he was bowling on hand-set pins.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's wild.
Hand set, hand conditioned. And really, the hand conditioning didn't stop until, probably until 60s or 70s. They came out with, the Wick-style machines and a little bit earlier than that. But back when our house opened, 87 or something like that, they were still hand conditioning lanes then. Because they had machines invented. Sure, they was out there, but who could afford them?
Right.
It was new technology, and it was astronomical to get your hands on it. So they still conditioned by hand.
And wasn't it I want to say I was watching a Brunswick video, and he was talking about it. And it was basically like a weed sprayer that you would go and spray the oil on the lane till... Mm-hmm. Me and Elvis were talking about this.
Yeah.
Not that Elvis. Elvis Wright. But, yeah, he's not in Rocky Mount, Virginia, I promise, guys. But this guy is. So he was saying that, wasn't it like you basically sprayed it with like a weed sprayer,
mm-hmm.
and then there was a mop.
Yep.
And there was no cliffing or pyramiding or, triangling of the oil. It stopped on whatever feet you told them to stop it on, and they kind of just mopped it backwards.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there was some fine-tuning in there because it really depended on how much you sprayed in that area as you was pulling it back and how you fanned it out. So you could play a little bit of build in the center and a little bit dry on the outside. So you could still create some sort of a competitive shot. But, for the most part, it was just get it down, make it slick, watch them fall down.
So what would be your role at Rocky Mount? What I know we've talked about this before with pin chasers and things like that, but as mechanic inside goes, what would you classify your role as?
Okay, so I was, as far as...
And just a ballpark.
Like,
it doesn't have to be
as far as like
perfect.
AMF would be concerned, as far as the company itself, when they have their corporate Bolero centers, I would be a B-level mechanic. You know, you've got your ABCs, and sure, you got your your A-level mechanic is smart,
Master,
right?
Master mechanic. Oh, yeah,
yeah, and I can dabble some into that, but it takes me a second to figure it out.
This is what I was looping back into. Back in the day, being a B-level mechanic, would you blame the guy who oiled the lane on a bad shot? Back when they were hand sprayed.
I mean, you still wouldn't.
I'm making this as a joke,
Right.
because the joke is blame the lane guy.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
when-
I mean, and some people don't understand that it is a joke. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
some people take that crap serious, but yeah, I mean, you shouldn't blame the lane guy. You know,
And two, it's the guys in baseball that say they have a hole in their bat.
right?
It's the guys in football that are saying the balls are deflated.
Yeah.
It's the guys in golf that are saying if that bird wouldn't have chirped in my backswing.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's
Sure.
you get put on a level playing field.
Yeah.
Or a relatively level playing field. We're not going to talk about lefties. Lefties have the world.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
had to take my stab at the lefty guys out there. But it's no matter what's out there, it is you versus that pattern versus everybody else.
True. And a lot of times, all of the lanes have the same pattern printed on them. So it's not like you have one advantage over the lane beside
Agreed.
you. Sure, in a wood house, everything's always a little different with humidity and how dry it is outside. Weather plays a huge
Temperature in it.
Yeah, in the temperature of the wood. I mean, wood swells, it contracts, it moves. You can't always have a perfect shot from one night to the next. You can get close for sure, but you'll never be exact. And me working there and being able to throw those lanes pretty much whenever I wanted to, I mean, it'd be one day I'd be at a certain spot on board 5, just shooting something out there, and the next day I come in, I've got to throw it down 9 because it's not working at 5 or 10 because it's just that particular day, it just didn't agree with it.
And two, this is something that got brought to my attention. There's been, I guess, multiple PBA events hosted
Absolutely.
there, right?
Yes.
So I actually got to, go out and watch guys who get paid. I've had this joke of, it's the difference between a bodybuilder and me.
What's that?
Bodybuilder gets paid to lift weights. I'd probably be really, really strong and really, really fit if I got paid to lift those weights.
Yeah.
I choose to lift, somewhere between 12 to 16 ounces at a time, not hundreds of pounds loaded up.
Right.
So when you go out there and watch the big dogs, and I couldn't count how many of those guys, and this was during the roll-off period of it. I got there late, and how many of those guys had notebooks
Yeah.
and were writing little quirks that they found out about every pair of lanes in that house.
Yep.
And I went, oh. Yeah, that, I go out there and get me a draft and sit it at a table and say, hey, we gonna swing for it.
Yeah.
And those guys are out there critiquing lane, 10 versus lane 13.
Yeah.
And I could miss. I ain't gonna lie, I peeked over a shoulder once or twice. I mean, I was curious to see what they're writing down. But it was, on this date, this temperature,
Yeah.
this
yeah.
lane played here, that lane played there. You can't miss that far. And I was like, oh, that's that men versus boys aspect.
Yeah.
Like that's what separates it.
Yeah, and that is a lot of what you don't see outside to inside when you're just going to the bowling alley to have fun with your family. You're going on the shelf to find the best house ball that you can squeeze the shit out of.
And rock it at
And just
18,
rocket
20
it,
miles an hour.
Right, and then you get into something that's drilled for you, and you're not supposed to squeeze it. It's completely opposite. So the finesse in the game, a lot of people don't understand how hard it can be if you make it. As far as trying to competitively bowl. I mean, it's going out there and just slinging a house ball down the lane and getting lucky. Sure, you might shoot a 200 game with a house ball. Great for you. But then you come out the next day and you shot a 107. So, you know,
there is something that awakens the inner caveman in me when I grab a house ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh.
Okay.
Rain take ball, rain throw hard, rain make big boom.
Yeah.
And that's how it was before I actually, you know, tried to understand this chess match with bowling balls. I don't know, chess match with balls and pins. I couldn't tell you how it is, but that's how it feels most times.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else you got cooking over there, big dog?
So, you know, I just kind of grabbed a few little snippets on about where everything started, and you know, touching back on Godfrey here, he was from up north, you know, New York area, Buffalo. Buffalo apparently is a huge bowling community, and that's something I didn't know. I'm a huge Buffalo fan. You know, go Bills. Huge hockey fan, Sabres fan for years. You know, I just so to hear that bowling also came from the same community is cool to me.
And that's actually something I did not know myself.
Yeah.
But we this was part of the conversation earlier of, you know, what else is there to do when there's 8 foot of snow outside?
True.
I mean, you can't go throw a football, can't go throw a baseball, so throw a bowling ball.
Go throw some rocks.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, I got a few notes on that as far as how I found out kind of where it came from, and then little oddball snippets as far as you know, about 1840, the state of Connecticut actually banned bowling.
Really?
Banned it. There was
that is the most ridiculous. I mean,
yeah,
I could see a state doing that.
Right.
Like absolutely,
Right.
there was one out there. I was not expecting Connecticut, and I wasn't not expecting in the 1800s.
Yeah. So apparently it was to curb gambling.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So, you know, and it could be a modified. This was like a wiki thing, so it was just a little touch on it. I was like, ooh, cool, we can talk about that. But it was to curb efforts in gambling usage. So I guess it was just getting rowdy on the Friday nights, and they didn't like it, you know? 1840 style.
You know what that just reminds me of? And I think this is the right movie. I'm not a movie guy. Is it Kingpin?
Oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, with the Amish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that is Kingpin. Okay, cool. When they're out there hand setting on you know, and yet again, this is a movie. This is in La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
But would you say 40?
Yeah, 1840, 1843.
I can just see a whole bunch of dudes like, I bet you I can throw this rock faster than you. Like, oh, no. And this is something it didn't click. Shout out the Rhino's Pro Shop with Ryan and Jermaine. Mm-hmm. They taught me this little snippet, and I never understood that bowling is a blue collar thing. Mm-hmm. And now, since I'm kind of that, of course, that was getting my first ball drilled, first, you know, understanding of all this and how it works. But yeah, he's like, you know, bowling is really blue collar, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he started explaining, and he was like, pay attention who's out here on league night.
Yeah,
and it's your farmers, and it's your construction workers, and it's your, you know, medics and EMTs and guys who works in warehouses and things like that. And I was like, I'd love to think bowling got started by just a couple drunk rednecks.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, man, we got a whole bunch of pickets laying around. What do you want to do?
Right.
Let's chuck a rock at it
Let's chuck a rock
fast as we can. And I bet you I can knock down more than you.
There is always some sort of fascination with rocks.
Caveman, dude.
Whether you throw them off a bridge and watch the ripples in the water.
I will click on that video every time when it says for the boys. The big chunks of ice going off the side of the bridge. Come on, boy.
Every time. I actually sent one of them to my uncle one time. Didn't watch it. And it was one of the ones where it got you sucked in, and right about the time that thing hit the water, it was just a bunch of, you know, super loud.
The old jump scare videos? Yes.
Well, jump scare, but as far as not something horror popping out of the TV at you, but like sex noises. Just straight up, just moaning. He was not a fan. He was not a fan.
My sister was the prime culprit of sending me those at work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, he was at Hardee's ordering his breakfast.
Yes.
So it was
Perfect
just out there.
Accidental.
Yeah, he was so mad. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan at all. But now, I mean, I just kind of brought that a little insight into the bringing ups of the games. So, and then, since then, it's kind of went to, it's kind of small town centers versus corporate at this point in the game. This day and age. Your small town centers are dying out.
Yes. I got bit by corporate bowling in Richmond. And we had, no, it was in D.C. Sorry. We went up there for a family trip. Of course, everybody, and I tell you what, let's back up real quick. I first started dating Tiffany. And everything was cool and everything was fine. I knew a little bit of her family, previous of all this, everything was cool. She goes, "Hey, do you want to go bowling?" I can see your grin popping up because you knew something I didn't know at this particular time. And I said, "Sure." She's like, "Okay, I'll grab my stuff." And I was like, "That's a little weird, but okay." There was her dad, her brother-in-law, and her sister. And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll go out there. We'll drink some beer. I'm a weekend bowler. I'll just go out there with whatever. We'll have a great time. I was in trouble when I was the only one who rented shoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, y'all have bags? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, y'all ain't renting shoes? And they're like, no. And I was like, that's when I knew I got into an ultra competitive in her side of the family. And this is something that you can bring up next league night too. I beat Brad.
First time out. Yeah.
Throwing a bright orange 14-pound house ball, gripping and ripping on house shoes as hard as I could. I didn't know the gravity of that.
Yeah.
And then Tiffany's like, "Oh, you beat Brad." And I'm like, cool, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then now I've got to know Brad. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a badge of honor, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now he's my summer doubles partner and bowls against us on Thursday nights. But I had to throw that little bit of getting back to what I realized how aggressive some bowlers can be.
Yeah, he super cool dude. Super cool dude.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I got off on a tangent here. So went with her family up to D.C., corporate bowling.
Yeah.
I knew it would loop back eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Went to, I don't remember what house it was, and we went out there, and I just brought my shoes. I think shoes are probably one of the most, if that's not one, it's two in your bowling bag. And yeah, I know you don't bring that much stuff, but some people would put Everslide or rosin or something up there with it too. I like my shoes. I know how my shoes work.
Mm-hmm.
Went up there and bowled one game, and it was $15 a game. I immediately text Tanya, who runs the Rocky Mountain Bowling Center, and I said, "Hey, I just went bowling in D.C. You will never hear me complain about your prices ever again." I was like, it usually takes me a game to get warmed up.
Yeah.
And I threw that, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh, you going to bowl another one?" I was like, not at these prices to bowl in the 80s
Yep.
on house balls. I was like, I quit.
And that is the killer. That is the killer. Some people would say that there's no want to keep the community going when it comes to the Bolero side of things. Now they'll have a different input, I'm sure. As far as the corporate aspect of it, they'll claim they're saving the sport. I'm sure, but you could try to fool me all day long. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of people that complain about that, and it seems like they're just more after the money aspect of it than keeping bowling, keeping it active, keeping it going. Because if you don't have the youth, you don't have people out there wanting to come to your $15 lane, $15 game lane, you're going to kill it. You're going to kill the sport.
My thing is too, I don't mind paying $15 for 3 or 4 games, or 2 or 3 games.
Right.
That does not bother me a bit.
Yeah.
But I said, this is a financial move.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to spend $30, $40 on me to prove nothing out here.
Yeah. I mean, and they try to justify it, but what it really boils down to is the amount of people who have their hands in the pot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, you take the Hodges, they do great. They do great. And they do all they can for the center. Every chance they get, they do it.
They have done a lot for me just as a league bowler. Yeah. And I understand league bowlers are important.
Sure.
But, offering time out of their day to come help me.
Yeah.
Or explaining different things.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't sound like a lot, but sometimes you got to have, going back to mechanicking. How many times have you called somebody else in just to look at the same problem you have?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's not, you don't need them to touch it. You just need their perspective on it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, it's
it
wild.
comes back to that hometown.
Agree.
Which, I mean, can also be still talking about the same thing, corporate versus local owned. And it's just, you get in these corporate places and sure, the people that work there are local, but the money's not staying local.
Well, not just that, but you have pride in your job.
Oh, yeah.
Tanya has pride in her job.
Yeah.
Elvis has pride in his job. The ladies that work the bar have pride in their job. Like, it's one of those, I have built a relationship with those people. And I'm not talking about just going up there and buying beers. Like, you talk, you learn where they bowl. You learn how, when you go in on a Thursday night, you ask Jennifer how she did on Wednesday night because she bowls a Wednesday night league.
Yeah.
And you become friends with these people. And I've never received that in corporate America. It's always like, hey, appreciate your money, get out.
Yeah. I mean, you could steal the line from old Dominic Toretto, man. We're family, we got to keep it going. But it's just, that's how it is, man. And Bolero, I mean, sure, they're a great company, and they've been there to bowl out some centers instead of just letting them shut down.
Right.
But it's kind of like, where do you stop stabbing them? You already had to buy out their pride and joy. They had to admit fault, and you had to come in and take it, to keep it open. But then you're just going to keep screwing the people who wanted it to stay open. So,
and like my opinion too is, yet again, redneck from Rocky Mountain, probably don't carry no weight, but I would rather pay more for the side projects of it to get your money back. As in, I would rather pay more for the nachos. I'd rather pay more for the french fries. I'd rather do that than get hit over the head with the high rate of bowling. Because the longer you can keep me there, the more I'm going to spend my money.
Yes. And I don't understand that. That is a very valid point. Very good point. Because I'm kind of like you. The first game is always just a throwaway. It's just a throwaway game. You're there to see if they oiled that lane that day, how many people have bowled on that lane that day, where the line is once you find it, and what ball to throw. If you're there to have a good time, then sure, some of that don't matter. But if you're there to figure things out, like say for instance, there's a good tournament up north, Pennsylvania.
I got my ticket punched,
buddy.
Yeah.
The Dutchman. That's a great tournament to bowl in if you got an opportunity to do so.
And turns out they give you bologna.
Absolutely.
And it is delicious.
Delicious. 6 in a row, man. You shoot you a 6-pack, you get you some bologna. So keep that 2-hander pin carry going and just let them ring out.
Come on.
Yeah. But that tournament's great, man. It's fun. We go up there as a family, as a community. We go up there, we hang out, we show out how it is, and then we come back. But it's things like that. It's just great.
You hit it right. Family.
Yeah.
There is such a community aspect.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's from everywhere. The guys you're bowling against. They got the chance to sub out on Tuesday a couple times. Got the chance to sub against a team I have subbed with before. Had the best time I've had on a bowling lane being competitive because we got to talk so much trash between each other.
Yeah.
And there was something came up, and I forgot what it was. And they're like, Rain, you're not going to give them a hard time? And I was like, for what? And they're like, whatever happened. I don't remember if we hung somebody out on strikes or what it was. And the guy who dropped the ball was there. And I looked at him and I said, why am I going to kick a man while he's down? He's doing the best he can. And, dude, the laughs that got out of that and the trash talk of it was just, these are the same dudes who I wouldn't mind calling half of them with a flat tire at 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, you're not going to hear the end of it. You will never hear the end of the story of, hey, you remember that time? Like, hey, yeah, I know. Yeah. But that would be the only regret of calling these guys is because they're just going to pick on you from it. But,
sure.
Man. So, do you have any pre-shot routine?
There's a little bit of focus. I kind of look to see if I can see any variances in the shot on the lane. You get up on the approach, you just kind of look. I'm normally the guy that gets up there and checks to see if the foul lines are on.
Haven't thought about that. That's a good one.
I normally go up there and stick my toe in and just see how many people pick their heads up when yeah. So that's normally a go-to for me, especially anytime I'm in a tournament setting. That's the first thing I do because
I've never thought about that.
A lot of people don't think about it. They just sit there and guess at it, and they worry about it. And normally I'm not even close to the foul line. I leave some room to adjust for that because you can also play that to your advantage. There's certain times where if you have like a default 6 to 7 inches from your stop point to the foul line on a normal approach, you can use that to your advantage. If you think your ball could get a little bit further down the lane, you can use that 6 inches to your advantage.
In the words of, I believe it was Berger, he said the ball can't hook if the ball doesn't touch the lane. So if you're having that issue of the ball hooking too early, hit a little slide forward on it,
Right. Yeah, there's some of that. Technique is huge in a game of bowling. Repetition is even bigger. But normally I just check your approach, see how slick it is. See whether or not I need to change something or tack something up, But I don't have a whole lot of pre-shot routine. I wipe the shoe, grab your ball and get at it. Right, grip it and rip it, man. Just get up there and get it over with.
So this is one of the last ones I wanted to touch on here. Bowling traditions. Mm-hmm. I had to explain. I was on the phone with my sister. She's one of the tens of listeners that chime into the podcast. So, she had her little boy up there. He's 2 or 3 years old. I mean, look, I would say he's little. He's not, but he was out there, and somebody left a 5-pin. And of course, as bowlers, especially in fun environments, when you're bowling with your family, you got to put your arm up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And she told me, she's like, I don't know why you made him put his arm up. And I was like, ooh, here you go. So I have always been told that it is a 5-pin, which is in the middle of the rack, should be the easiest spare to pick up. Mm-hmm. Because you should be able to throw just your standard strike ball, and it should knock it out. It should be the easiest spare to pick up. Mm-hmm. So with that, if the on-watchers put their arm up and you miss it, the person who is throwing the ball, if they miss it, they are responsible for buying a round for everybody who has their arm up.
Yeah.
Sunday Night League is vicious with this. Opie. Opie is one of the ones who starts yelling out, everybody, watch out. And then you got to put your arm up, make sure that you're covered for it. So I was actually bowling a lady. She must have been, I couldn't tell you how old she was. She was up there. She was older lady, and I held my hand up when her bowling partner left it, and I said, she's like, why you got your hand up? I was like, well, I've always been told if you miss the 5-pin, you owe us a beer. She said, ain't what I heard. I said, okay. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but the lady is definitely north of 70.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I heard that if you put your hand up and you missed that 5 pin, you weren't getting none tonight. Talk about throwing me out of a bowling mentality real quick. Coming from the sweet little old lady telling me that, I about had tears rolling down my face laughing so hard. So I had to share that story with my sister, and of course she got a good kick out of it. So is there any other bowling traditions that kind of ring a bell and hit home?
Nah, not really. I mean, it's, other than the banter between bowlers, just the rebuttal back and forth. That's about the only tradition that I know other than the 5-pin thing.
They're the best friends that will kick you in the stomach when you're down.
Oh man, dude, yeah. Some nights I'm just not down for it, and I just leave things alone. Other nights I will feedback, but
right.
Some people. They look at me when I'm aggravated at myself up there, and they think that I'm actually just pissed off at the world. And I'm really not. It's me, because nobody else can make me bowl like shit.
Yeah.
So
I 1,000% agree with you, buddy.
When I get aggravated and I'm showing my ass, normally because of me. It's at me. It ain't at you. It ain't at Joe Blow over there. It's normally at me. And so there's a few people that know me and they know that, so they just still talk shit anyway. And I'm fine with it.
I'm usually one of those guys that quickly follow up with, all right, what happened?
Right.
Like let's talk about it. Let's mentally work through this to try to figure out if we can't salvage this game.
Right. Yeah. And it's me in my head going over the shot. I see things different in my head.
Yep.
It seems, when I talk to other people, it seems like I break it down almost too much. And I see a lot of stuff going on. And then when I move, sometimes it's the right move, sometimes it ain't. So then I'm still replaying everything about that shot in my head. And, and that's when I'm so focused, and then I get aggravated when I don't adjust the right way. So, but it has nothing to do with anybody. It's just,
Oh no, yeah.
Let me be mad at myself.
Right. You have. I have dug this hole. I'm gonna sit in this hole.
Right,
this is my problem.
Right. I still love everybody. I just let me kick my own ass.
Right. Yeah. I have definitely been there more than one night. So I think, on that note, man, hey, I really appreciate you coming out and doing this. I know we've had this scheduled for a while, and conflicts have, jumped here and there to keep getting this pushed back, and I appreciate you being understanding of that. But thank you for coming out here. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your knowledge and what you know, and some history and some cool stuff that you brought up. And I think if you're down for it, we're gonna have to get you back on here, and we'll pick another topic to run
maybe
with
we'll
out there.
flip script, man. We'll talk about mechanicking on something else, man. A little automobile mechanicking,
a little shitbox action,
a little shitbox, or some rat rod or something. Yeah,
DM4, man. Well, hey, I really appreciate it, sir. Yet again, Eddie. I got back to the Facebook name. Eddie Ransome. Really appreciate you being out here, brother. And we will catch y'all later. See ya.
See you, man.